Let's get some reaction and analysis now from government consultant Christoph Horstel. He's been to Syria recently, joining me live now there in Berlin. Well, with the rebels taking the fight first to Damascus and making quite an impact there, and now to the country's second city of Aleppo, are the tables turning against Assad now?
Not now, I think. Maybe later. That remains to be seen. For now, we have to say that the attack on Damascus was pushed back very successfully. There are now single house checks in Damascus going on by the army, by the government army. And what we have in Aleppo is, of course, a fight for the main, let's say, production and trade center. That is very serious for Syria and the survival of the government. And as for now, I'm quite confident the pushing back of the insurgents, come terrorists, will be successful.
Despite what you see as a forthcoming success, we have seen incredible success, though, from the rebels. But bearing in mind what we saw in Libya, it took, the rebels there months to overthrow Gaddafi, even with overwhelming NATO air support. How do you think the Syrian rebels are making such an impact now without this official direct foreign action that we saw in Libya?
Well, that is not so difficult, unfortunately, to explain. We had an influx of 1 to 2 times 10,000 fighters from outside Syria into Syria, mainly from Jordan and Lebanon recently, and these fighters have made their way to Aleppo and to Damascus. We have a leading group of small, attack teams, very highly trained, obviously, and to my best guess with a Secret Service background sponsored by the USA.
And of course, Christoph, amongst the opposition, the German government itself believes that Al-Qaeda has committed something like nearly 100 terror attacks there in the country at the moment. And yet Germany and the rest of NATO, they're still supporting these forces which are fighting against Assad.
You see, I have just read the original source of this figure. That is the official answer of the German government to a question of the leftist member of parliament in Germany, Sevim Dagdelen. Now, this is quite interesting. They are talking about attacks and in another line about big attacks. They are not talking about bomb attacks. So, and the government is obviously attributing these 90 or so attacks to Al-Qaeda and 20 more attacks to unknown, attackers. So this kind of calculation to me seems to be very, questionable. We don't know exactly that we can define Al-Qaeda to, heavy attacks. What we know is that Al-Qaeda is a kind of army, and not only, special hit teams like, American Black Ops operations or things like that, which are also active in the country. So what we have here is a game of, unexplained terms and words. And to my feeling, the attack number of Al-Qaeda personnel is much, much higher, 20 to 40 or 50 times higher than these 90 just indicated by the government. But, now it comes a big but. What is interesting is that the German government is talking about this at all. That is, a slight opening, and it is also a little, disobedience towards the United States of America. And that, in fact, has increased this disobedience of the German media a little bit after the recent meeting in May between the Russian President Putin and the German Chancellor Merkel. And we have now something like up to 10% of, disobedient publications in Germany, for example, regarding the terrible massacre in Al-Hawla at the end of May.
So in effect, Germany and other countries are indirectly supporting the likes of Al-Qaeda or jihadists or Islamic fundamentalists in this chaos now that is occurring in Syria, which of course could mean that they could, perhaps take over the power vacuum. So this is a major problem that the Western effect is perhaps supporting an Islamist takeover.
Yeah, this is in fact happening right now, and we can assume very clearly. I mean, I receive private messages of members of family of soldiers, doing service in Libya right now, without any official knowledge of the parliament, without any official knowledge of the, control people in the parliament for our secret services. So that is quite interesting. And my best guess is that German personnel illegally and secretly is also doing service in Syria right now. We have a hint recently here in the German media and in some American critical media. They say that Germany is indulging, and this is officially acknowledged and approved that this is true. Germany is illegally and without any mandate from the United Nations or so involved in setting up a new Syrian government for the times after the possible fall of the present President Assad. And this involves, the transport of opposition people from Syria into Germany, and that needs a network. So in fact, I think that network has a, bridgehead in Syria.
Interesting to hear your thoughts. Thank you very much indeed. Christoph Hustel joining me live there in Berlin. Thanks for being with us here on RT.